Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Briskin here again. Welcome to step 2 of your Zentangle name art tutorial. At this point I have all of my items and objects glued down to the page, so this is where we're going to start for this tutorial. Make sure everything's secure. What we're going to be doing is creating a grid on the page so that when we go to draw everything that's on here, it's going to be a lot easier for ourselves. We're going to understand where everything is in relation to each other on the page as well. And it'll be much more simplified, the drawing process. So just to start, make sure everything's nice and flat and secure because we're about to fold our page. So I'm going to start by turning my page horizontally, and I'm going to fold it in half the long way. So we're going to take the bottom, and you should be doing this flat on a table, and match the bottom edge to the top edge, just like that. This is also called a hot dog fold. And all you do is you smooth out the crease, press it down nicely so that the line really shows up. You can go over it a few times just to flatten it. Okay, then we're going to open up our page, and you should have a nice indentation right down the middle. All right, the next step is we're going to do the same fold but the opposite direction. So your page is now vertical up and down. We're going to take the bottom edge and fold it right to the top edge in half. We're dividing our page in half, just the opposite direction. And once again, I recommend do this flat on the table. It's almost like making a birthday card, if you've ever made one. Okay, so I just folded that crease nice and flat. Now, for the next step, we want to create some more boxes on our page. So right now, at this point, you should have 1 box, 2, 3, and 4 boxes total. But I want to actually divide these boxes in half yet again. So with my page open, I'm going to take my bottom edge and I'm only going to bring it to the middle this time. So I'm going to find that middle crease while the page is vertical. I'm going to bring it to that crease right there, and then I'm going to fold it, press down on that crease. So I'm creating 2 additional boxes right now. And then I open it up like so. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes in the lower half. And I have to do the same thing to the upper half because there's only 2 boxes here. So now I'm going to take the top side, the top edge, and I'm going to fold it right down to the middle. So I'm folding and I'm pressing it down just like that, and I'm creating my creases. And we open it, and voila, now we have 8 boxes. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now it might be hard to see in this video, so I'm also going to take a ruler and very lightly draw over my lines. And if you have a ruler at home, I highly recommend it for this next part of the step so that you can really see your boxes very well. And you should go right over your lines that you created and use the ruler to trace over them. Okay? So I just found exactly where my line is. Here's my ruler and my pencil. And it's okay if you draw right on top of your writing. It's okay if you draw on top of the objects and images. Go right ahead because this is just a guide. This paper, I'm going to go over it a few times so that my line really shows. See? So it should be much more visible when you do that. And then I'm going to turn my page. I'm going to find my crease. A really easy way to do that is to kind of push the crease up against the ruler so it's like hugging it. And that way it'll make sure it's lined up nicely. And I'm going to go right over the lines the same way. only this time we're doing it in the opposite direction. This is from a horizontal position. Okay, and this is my halfway crease that's next. It divides the page exactly in half horizontally. Here we go. You want to get these lines nice and dark. You want them to be obvious to the eye. Okay, and I have one more line to go right here. I'm going to go over it a few more times, maybe a couple. Okay, let's see what we've got. All right, beautiful. So now it's much easier to see my 8 boxes. To make this even more clear to the eye, what I'm going to have you do next is label your boxes with a number. So this is going to be box number 1. Right next to it is box number 2 at the top. So that's 1 and 2. If you want to draw your 2 on the outside corner, if there's something blocking here, you can always just draw it in any spot in the box where it's more visible. Okay? In fact, I think I'm going to move this over so it's more obvious. So this is box number 2. And then box number 3 on the left, box number 4 on the right, box number 5 on the left, box number 6 on the right, and then we're at box number 7 on the left, and finally box number 8 on the right. So it's going to be nice and clear when we refer to our boxes. Okay, and there we go. So we have 8 boxes. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is create a grid on a blank sheet of paper. This blank sheet of paper is going to become our official drawing surface. So this paper you want to take good care of because this is where we're actually going to do our drawing, and the whole finished art piece will end up on here as well. What we want to do is first create a grid for ourselves that's identical to this page. Now, I'd like you to avoid folding this page because you don't want your final artwork to be folded like we did over here. And what you can do is you'll see with the ruler, this page is 9 inches. So half of 9, if we look exactly at the ruler to see where this line ends up, it's 4.5, 4.5 inches. So either I could take my ruler to the top of that page, and where I see the 4.5 line, I could make a little dot for myself right there. That's one way to do it. I would do it on the top and then the bottom of my page down here where I'm measuring, once again, 4.5 inches. That's if your page is 9. We're just trying to find the halfway point. Okay, here we go. This is 4.5 right there. And then you can take your ruler. I'm just turning my page so I could fit it a bit, but I've lined up my ruler at both dots 4.5, and it's meeting the other 4.5 dot at the bottom, top and bottom. And then very lightly, this time lightly being the operative word, we're going to draw a line right down the middle of the page. So it should look like that. And then I'm going to turn my page horizontally, and we also have to find the halfway point here. So either I could measure the length of this page. Let's see. The page itself horizontally is 12 inches, and half of 12 is 6, so you can see that's where my halfway point is. So I could actually just measure 6 inches right on the page. I could make a little dot, and I know that's exactly my halfway point. And I know that the 2 additional boxes were created by creating a half of a half. So half of 6 inches, we could start on the left, is 3 inches. So 1, 2, 3 inches, so I can make a dot right there. And I could just count from the 6. So 1, 2, 3 inches will end up at the 9 mark. And there we go. We have our dots already marked. Another option for you, if let's just pretend you didn't actually have a ruler at home, you could actually take your previous page that already has all of the lines on it and actually just line it up against the other page and just make all of your lines exactly where you're seeing them on this page, both on the top and the bottom, so that they meet up really nicely, and then connect your lines. So, but in this case, I'm going to use my ruler again for the bottom. Okay, I know 6 is half of 12, that's where I want to start. And then we have 1, 2, 3, that's half of 6 for my other boxes. 1, 2, 3, we're at the 9 mark. Okay, so all of my dots are drawn in, and now all I have to do is connect them. So it might be hard to see on the camera, but my ruler is exactly aligned with the dot that I made on top and then the one that I made on the bottom, and I just make my line. And I'm going to slide the page as I go along, connect my dots. There we go. And one more, just gonna line it up. Okay, press down my ruler so nothing shifts. And there we go. We have our 8 boxes. Now, if your image happens to be in this direction, that everything is facing horizontally, that's fine. If you go to number your page, you can still number accordingly. You could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 across that way if it's easier for you. You number your boxes in the way that it makes the most sense. In this case, because my image was vertical, based on the placement of everything, I'm just going to renumber my boxes lightly the way that I initially had it. So I have box 1, box 2, I'm keeping it towards the outer corners, box 3, box 4, box 5, box 6, box 7, and box 8. And there you have it. So now we already have a grid that's mapped out, and we're going to be able to do our drawing very easily, and we're going to be doing it one box at a time. So I will explain that in the next video, which will be step number 3. I'll see you soon.